easing out this government, the hope of incoming administration doing anything better. That's the only thing I see that is keeping the people going. This administration that is coming to its conclusion, for the better part of it, to me, have not done anything good for the people. Well, in terms of, like they claim, infrastructure, but the infrastructure that could decay while the people are in poverty doesn't make any sense. Infrastructures that could galvanize the economy and make the people productive, that can make sense. Yeah, there have been a whole lot of investment in infrastructure, but I consider that. Will that really translate to meaningful life for the generality of the citizenry? I have my fingers crossed.
Well, thank you. But the other thing I want to find out, I'm quite a little bit worried. I want to find out from you, where is this Omoluabi thinking like Ọlọ́run á ṣe the time? Where's it coming from? Is it coming from that kind of allergia, or from I don't want to preempt. Is it coming from religion? Any sùúrù fún ọ, àmú Ọlọ́run lélẹ́yìí o, any sùúrù Ọlọ́run máa tó ṣe o. Which one do you think is confessed?
I think it's a mixed theory of what you have said. It's a mixture of so many of them. There's a religion input in it that kind of moderates the mind of the people to the extent that, you know what, whatever comes is by the will of God. That kind of tamed the people to some extent. And equally, maybe culturally, the Omoluabi stuff that is known in the Yoruba heritage. We try as much as possible to live above God and to be sincere and be resilient as well. But thinking that a better tomorrow will prevail. So I think the combination of all that in the Southwest, I've not gone outside of the Southwest to test the temperature. The Southwest have been, well, the Southwest actually, I don't know. The Southwest actually, if one looks at the ecosystem or the demography of the population in the Southwest, you might not necessarily even need to go to the north or the east or the south to know what is going on. Lagos is a mix of all that makes Nigeria. And in most of the Southwest cities and capital cities as well, you find nearly every ethnic group cohabiting. So if I have to take that as a sample for Nigeria, not actually identifying the fact that I have not particularly gone to other zones. Yeah, but the people that make up the other zones are available here too. So if I have to take into account their attitude or their feelings about the whole thing, that's what is making me have that conclusion. That yes, Nigerians are unhappy, but in the face of unhappiness, they try to make themselves live. I wouldn't say make life, but they try to make themselves live. You know, there is a difference between living and being alive.
Okay, talking about the people, because there's no way we are immune from not hearing the latest about the electioneering campaign going on.
Pardon me, as I speak now, I'm held in a traffic caused by long queues of people waiting for petrol. You can imagine that we might spend hours here. Who knows?
So is that a bonus?
Very chaotic traffic.
Is that a bonus for Otuba, who latest show from the UK? That at least. Now, the other thing I want to ask you, and this is for me, this is germane. As you speak, you said you confirm that most of our people, or these people that have been oppressed, and being deprived of virtually everything, they are still living on hope, and they are still thinking, oh my da, the last 50
Bẹ́ẹ̀
years, kò sí yàtọ̀, kò sí nǹkan kan." because because the law of naturally how things operate, gbogbo ò lè kó ní Nàìjíríà, gbogbo British náà dẹ̀ lè kó ní London kan lọ sí Australia, even though Australia is one of the biggest continent with the smallest number of population. So the thing I want to say is this: ṣé àwọn tán, what is the majority of àwọn tí wọ́n believe pé ó máa da, àtàwọn tán tiẹ̀ kí àì pé you know what, tí n bá ti róúnjẹ àárọ̀ jẹ tí ọ̀sán wà tiẹ̀ bọ́ sí á jẹ́ 001 ló jẹ́ fún mi yẹn, táyì pé 00 tàbí 100 ni. So what kí ni percentage àwọn tán gbà yìí pé you know what, I can't even bother. Then I want to be, I'm into it. We want to do something about it. You see, because there are two different set of people. Àwọn kan ti gba kámú, ní nǹkan tó wọ́n sọ pé òsì nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ ṣe sí, ẹ má wúyọra yín lẹ́nu. Because I'm trying to bring it to another question that is related to an area I am more concerned. That is Yoruba living the country called Nigeria. So wanting to start. What do you compare that situation that Yorubas, majority of Yoruba are now saying, a fẹ́ fi Nàìjíríà lẹ̀ torí àráyè gbádùn, the orúnkún ìjọba Nàìjíríà ó wà lọ́rùn wa, àlà George Floyd, I can't breathe. So, what do you think majority
and there's
of people,
a popular one you used to say,
Pọ̀mẹ́sápẹ̀rẹ̀, yes. Yeah, well, okay, let's use the Pọ̀mẹ́sápẹ̀rẹ̀, because if somebody asks you to come and vote tomorrow, you are in Lagos, you are a Nigerian citizen, you got what do you think you're going to vote? What do you think is that going to make a change? Majority of the people, even if they vote and one of these known candidates wins, what do you think? Do you think without the structure we've been talking about, do you think it's going to be any changes?
Well, without preempting anything, I will look at it in twofold. One is a civic duty to vote. Unfortunately, I'm qualified to vote, but I've been disenfranchised for the reason that I was unable to register for with the electoral body prior to this coming election, so I won't be voting.
Okay.
But in terms of civility, it's a civic duty for any citizen to vote, since they have chosen that the form of governance that they prefer is democracy, which is government by people's representation. So the only way that could be done is people committing themselves to carry out their civic duty and vote. I cannot preach for anybody not to do so. If they so desire, they should. However, talking about the outcome, again, I cannot preempt or predict how that could turn out. So far, it seems there are just three main candidates in this. So anybody could have their preference. At the end of the day, one of them is likely going to win unless we have a rerun. So I will leave that for the electorate to decide,
even at the rerun,
or for the umpire to decide, or for the court to decide. Because election in Nigeria is inconclusive, even at the ballot box. It still could progress into the court. The court seems to be the final arbiter when it comes to electioneering or election matters. So that would be my take on that.
Now,
regarding the Yoruba nation.
Yeah.
Hello,
go on, sir.
Yeah, regarding the Yoruba nation, it's an ideal that I signed for. I support. It's very novel. It's something that all Yoruba should aspire for. But I take an exception with the way the agitation for such has been carried out in the most recent time, even from probably from the start of the agitation, I have a feeling that it's a good cause, but not well thought out in terms of planning. Yeah. And if it is well thought out, then there is a miscommunication to let those who you need to galvanize to support it, to understand the procedures, the processes that would be entailed. And so once there is such a lacuna, there's likely going to be a room for disobedience, there will be room for disorderliness, there will be room for mismanagement. And what I have mentioned so far, I've characterized that agitation. Some who are at the forefront might not want to agree with me, but they know that so far it has been more like one step forward, two steps backward.
Now, I don't think it's too much to keep repeating what I've always said, either on my own or at different fora.
Are you up?
What? Hello? Hello?
Okay. Hello?
Well, I just said it's not too much if I keep asking people like you the one very important question. Can you walk us through or walk me through the process and procedure of wanting to take a nation out of a nation or a nation out of a country? Let's put it that way. Just if you can walk us
Okay.
through.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. First and foremost, there's no gainsaying try to dilute the truth about the procedure. Agitation for nationhood or for a state is a political question, is a political request. It can only have political processes. People who are going to negotiate it, people who are going to dialogue about it, need to have political sense, and it has to be on a political platform. Let me give two instances. For the past 70 years, a party in United Kingdom, SNP, Scottish National Party, has been agitating for a nation of Scotland. They came from nothing in the parliament. They were able to muster the muscles and gradually be claiming seats in the House of Parliament. Eventually, they claim more seats in the Parliament of Scotland that it is that party that formed government in Scotland. Their agitation is not about taking placard, destroying people's property, maligning other individuals, saying all manners of lies about history of Nigeria, of their country. No. Their agitations were tabled before UK government, because it is that government they need to dialogue with to earn what they are agitating for. It's only their politicians who can do that. And I did mention the party. It is those who are in the House of Parliament that could have such discussion with United Kingdom government. And they did until 2014, when a prime minister, a Tory prime minister in United Kingdom named David Cameron, agreed and said, okay, you know what? Let's put this to a test. This party has been screaming to sky high that Scotland can be independent. The people, the Scottish people, wanted to be out of United Kingdom. They gave them a referendum. There can only be a path to referendum by political process. Let us know that truly the people of this area of this country wanted to be out. The result is history. You will know what it is. We all know what it is. The Scottish people voted to remain within United Kingdom. Yes. And that is where they are today. But it doesn't stop that party from still agitating. In fact, requesting for another referendum. That is the procedure.
If I can quickly interject you there, Mr. Osemi,
give another example.
If I can quickly interject you, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, but we have a completely different situation. Our situation in Nigeria is the Yoruba have no access to referendum because referendum is for some good reasons, for some bad reasons, excluded. Did not what
the referendum
is not in the constitution.
I think what you mean is the constitution does not allow for referendum.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, good. I've had this argument by many that
it is not in the constitution.
Some have situated nearly all the problem in Nigeria at the doorstep of that constitution. But I beg to differ on one condition. In spite of the problems that is in that constitution, in spite of the troubles that it has brought to Nigerians, perceived, I will say, in spite of the inconvenience that it has given to the body politic, I still feel that that constitution shot itself in the leg because it allowed for it to be amended. So all it takes is a political will. It has, as rigid as it is, it says, as rigid as I am, I'm giving my liberty for it to be changed in the hands of the House of Assembly, the Senate.
I'm sorry, I must interrupt you again.
Concurrently with the House
I need to interrupt you again, Mr. Daniel. Mr. Daniel,
okay.
I need to interrupt you again. Please put into your consideration, your argument for this, that we have a situation where I do understand and follow the process of changing the constitution by wanting to add the clause of a referendum. But then the way things are, the chances of getting that done, if you want to follow the process from the 774 local governments and so on and so forth, the majority will always come from those who do not want the separation. Continue. I just want to add that to you.
Well, even at that, like I told you historically, how long it has taken the Scottish government, unless we are envisaging we want this done within 2 years, or we want it done within 6 months, or there is nothing wrong in people disagreeing with you. The fact that Yoruba wants to be out of Nigeria, they should be able to sit down around those who said, you know what, we don't want this country to break up. Yes, it should be a conversation. You cannot say it is all about you. No, you need to have that conversation with those who felt you cannot take this part of the country out of the system. Yes. So, coming to whether the numbers, if you have a very small number of representatives, what you need to do then is to be a strategic thinker. How do you convince those who have the high numbers to see your point? The so-called SNP that I mentioned does not even have 1/40% in UK Parliament. They don't have, I think, 8 parliamentary members, maximum 12. And they were able to convince them to see the reason to have the referendum. It's being strategic in your planning. It's being strategic and knowing where you are going. It's not about, once you defeat yourself ab initio, that, these numbers, they are against us, the horde is against me. then you're not moving anywhere. It's no use for you to agitate then, because you already have considered that it's impossible. So why the hula balu cry? It doesn't work that way. To me, you need to think, how do I let these people see a win-win situation for all of us in what I'm going to table before them? As I'm saying now, you give another 20 years, Scotland might be out of the UK. It might even be the government in Westminster that realize that, you know what, it's going to be a big plus for us to have Scotland living. Yes, but for whatever reason, anybody will adduce them. But it might look bright, it might look sensible, it might look logical. Yes. So I don't want us to tie ourselves into this idea that, oh, the numbers are against us. Then, if we do know that, then we need not change anything. We just need to go to our bed and sleep. If that agitation worth agitating for, then we should begin to think, how do I penetrate this stubborn wall? How do I make it understand what I'm saying? Yes. Do I need to sing? Do I need to dance? Do I need to do a parole rounding? Anyhow, you need to start thinking strategically. That's the only way out. Anything less, I think we're just going to be dancing naked in the market square for a long time to come.
Yeah, thank you. But again, the comparison of the Scottish and the English, yes, there is a historical ground that they've been together for over 300 years and so on and so. But then,
of course,
we're again, the difference to me is we are dealing with the two sides have developed. They have emancipated. They have gone to a more developed, more sensible, more reasonable level of human endeavors, compared to where we are still dealing with ourselves, that we are yet to even develop a little piece of our areas, that the chairman, local government chairman, has chosen to take all the commonwealth for his area, and so it creates a kind of a situation where it's going to be very difficult to even let me finish that. It's even difficult for your local government to agree with something sensible. I'm sure it's going to be very difficult for Ikeja local government to agree to generating a better roads, a better infrastructure, because as far as he's concerned, he just want to be the only one, and his cronies to enjoy. So I'm not too sure whether I can agree with the comparison. I understand what you are saying. I appreciate that, but the comparison might be a little bit difficult to agree with. Yeah.
Okay. I think what I noticed these days, I think it is the premise that is wrong. If we start with this premise that it's going to be difficult, I think we're not going to move. That's what I've only noticed. If I have a challenge and I want to face it, I have two options. It's either I condone it and die with it, or I face it squarely and said, I'm going to overcome. There is a choice. But there is no choice in me talking about that problem from now till that thy kingdom come and expect a change. That is the third option, which is very vague. And I can tell you a lot of people usually subscribe to that area, where they talk about problem over and over and over and over, not thinking solution out. It's all about complain. This is not working. They are too much against us. It does not materialize. It's like people making motion without movement. What some people will simply call parabolating. You talk about it now and now and now and now and now. You are not making any effort to look at the solution. In this case, there could be another way. I mean, in terms of this nationhood agitation, there could be another third and fourth option, Maybe somebody is dreaming of a war, to fight a war out of it. But I would never be a subscriber to any violence. I do not think violence will breed anything good. Moreover, what we want to fight for is a territorial land. Even if we divide Nigeria, it does not remove it from the geographical location it is on the surface of the earth. So what that simply means is we're still going to be congruent to each other, even if we have borders. We're going to be next to each other as neighbors. So if we can, why not look at the dialogue to resolve our differences now and live cohabitably? Yes, rather than thinking mounting walls of borders is what is going to secure us. To me, that's how I'm looking at it. Is mounting the borders really going to secure us? Or when we even have a commonwealth where all of us can cohabit and live in harmony, as long as we can agree on something. Yes, but if we start off looking at those things that we cannot achieve them because of mutual suspicion, or because of ingrain of ethnic rivalry, or because of religious divide, then we're not doing any service for ourselves. Yes, I'm not saying that there will not be any bias. Definitely, there will be bias. There will be those of us who, in fact, the fact that we are agitating for a nationhood itself shows that we are biased within the ecosystem called Nigeria. Yes, I can liken that to what I even found in Nigeria today. Recently, in the media, everyone's in the presidency seems to be coming out to defend President Buhari, that he wanted to be fair in this election. President Buhari does not have a candidate. I found that very stupendous. I found that very, very, very jaundiced, very appalling, very disturbing. That a president will come on a platform of a political party. This is a party politics. He comes on a platform of a political party who will say that he does not have candidate and his party has a candidate. To me, that is strange. Is he saying that his party's candidate is not his candidate? How can he be fair if he's a political person on a party politics? He's supposed not to be fair. The only person that needs, or the only body that needs to be fair is INEC. Buhari is not the chairman of INEC. He should stop this talk about being fair. It is not his job to conduct election. It is his job to make sure that APC win the election, because he is a candidate. He was a candidate of APC, and he won election on APC platform. And now APC has another candidate. If he is a party political person, he should support his party. Leave INEC to do his job. The presidency cannot hijack the work of INEC and said we want fair. He cannot take the toga of a fair man. He cannot. Even in America, a Democrat, will you say a Democrat president when he's leaving will be saying, you know what, I don't care if Republicans should come in. He will vigorously campaign for his party. Well, I don't know what is wrong with us in Nigeria. Well, only last night, the Minister of Information was on here and saying Buhari does not have a candidate. Buhari wants anybody, is fair to. What is his concern about being fair? Was it fairness that brought him into power?
Well, Mr. Seni,
this is politics that is from people putting their toes in their head.
Well, Mr. Seni, I just want to make
and that to me seems to be how things are conducted in this country. Some miscreants who probably found themselves in the position of power shun out issues to the people as if everyone is a non-entity. It doesn't make sense. If he is tired, he should retire and go back to his home. If he no longer can handle party politics, he should say so. But this trying to play an angel, to me, oh God, nobody will vilify him for saying, I'm an APC president. No, nobody nobody will vilify him because he came on the platform of that party.
Well, Mr.
We all knew what Baba Obasanjo did after nearly 8 years completion of his term, and he wanted to put somebody else there. Even he put an epileptic person there, who to all persons and sundry, they knew that Yaradua was sick. Obasanjo was junketing all around the country during the campaign. Who today said Obasanjo was not fair? He doesn't need to be fair. He doesn't. He just needs to do what is right. So, and that's why I said in Nigeria, sometimes it is the abnormality that becomes the norm. It becomes the normal thing. I'm telling you, like we are finding traffic now. Some people just felt that's the way it should be. If there is no life for 3 months, it's common that's just the way it should be. Well, this thing has crept into people's mind that is making them dull.
Okay, Mr. Oseni.
What kind of fairness is that?
Mr. Oseni, I want to put this on record, the whole world, because they may not hear today, they will probably hear some other time. And what I'm about to say, there are two things. Number one, I'm under the obligation to protect you, to make sure nothing happens to you. You are one of my children, you are one of my nephews. And what I'm trying to say here is, please do not say anything that will bring you into unnecessary confrontation with the system, because that system, as you describe it, is not different from what is going on in Liberia, in Haiti, in Congo, in Uganda, and many other places. So, number one, it's my duty to protect you. Please tone down your anger. I can see. And that unfortunately is the benefit of somebody who knows what we are talking about. You are a student of medicine and a student of international politics and some other area of economics. Now, I'm saying that just for people to understand that you know exactly what you are doing. The other thing I want to say is, as much as I do not want to engage in Nigerian politics, prior to today, it will have not been possible for me to even go up to that point where you are. But I'm so happy as a free Yoruba man, Nigerian Yoruba man, yeah, Nigerian Yoruba man, because I'm still Nigerian British Yoruba man. Nigerian first, English two, then Yoruba to come to make it 3. So I hope I live long to see the Yoruba nation come to be. Now, the only thing I want to say in addition to what you just said is fantastic. The point I want to make is ordinarily I don't want to engage too much into what is going on in Nigeria, but I must also say it's a thing of joy to see that the way things are propping up in Nigeria, it could only be to advantage. It can only be advantageous for the people to see that change. So for me, in a way, not that I want the calamity, but I can see that if this our so-called candidates wọ́n tí wọ́n bá lulẹ̀, tí wọ́n bá ṣubú, àwọn èèyàn níbẹ̀ sí rí pé wọ́n ní káwọn máa pọnmi sápẹ̀rẹ̀ ni. So I want to put that on record. Let me recap. I don't want anything to happen to you for the short time you are going to be in Nigeria. Torí the next to my boss in Ikwe, wá láti London bẹ̀ sí wá gbọ́ àwọn. And even though the minister of this, minister of that, some of them are my very good friends, but it might be too late. Come on, clamp on you. I don't want that to happen. To my phone, I've not been speaking with them for a lot of reasons. So let me make progress. I still want to ask you a couple of things about the Yoruba business. How will you react if the people who are campaigning for actualization of Yoruba come to you and say you cannot say anything, but it has to be the only one way Yoruba, it has to be Yoruba, no another thing. So the question is, if there's a bonus of sometimes tomorrow, and government say, okay, let's sit down and talk. If you are to be one of the campaigners, you said it's a noble cause, you like the arrangement, what is going on is good. At the end of the day, ultimately, Yoruba they have more to gain than to lose if they stay in Nigeria. So it's better for them to leave. Now, if there were to be a referendum, if there to be an arrangement, let us sit down and talk. Because after what this has to be Jojo.
Yes,
So
Jojo.
what will you say? What will you say to people who are listening to us?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. What will you say? Well,
Well, the way I see things at the moment is those who are managing the affairs of Yoruba nation might be confounded if such thing is put before them, because I have a feeling that they are ill prepared for such talk, and that's why I said it's a political thing. If you are not good planning, you are not thinking, you must be one step ahead of your so-called, if it's truly your enemy. But I don't think I should just say that they are antagonists. I would rather say, well, you're antagonists. Yes, you should be able to preempt what is going on in the mind of your antagonist. That, okay, what if this thing should happen? What if this is the way they're going to take the dimension that this thing might take? What will be my response? What do I prepare to say? What do I prepare to do? And all that. If you ask me, I don't think there's such plan in the mind of those who are currently administering Yoruba nation. And it's not out of context that can happen. That the current administration, hello,
I'm here.
hello,
Hello, I can hear you.
that the current administration could say, yes, okay, there have been this agitation around a particular part of the country. I want to invite you people and let's have a chat. And these are what I want to do. And that's why I said we should be prepared for such. If we had done our homework, that okay, what if the idea of referendum is muted today? Are we going to negotiate that you give us another 5 years, another 10 years to sanitize our people on it before the referendum is conducted? Will that be your strength? Or are you going to say, okay, let it be done in a week or 2 months or 1 year, as the case may be? You have to plan for any eventuality, any objective eventualities that could come up. And that is my concern, that I don't see that happening. In fact, in some area where I have suggested such, I've seen people try to shout me down and say, oh, these are the ones that are sponsored by politicians. These are the ones that are talking of alternative plans. This plan B, plan this, plan that they don't want it. In fact, I looked and said, how can they not be receptive to other views, to other thoughts, to other ideas, to other framework? That I found a bit disturbing. Yes, I found a bit disturbing. There are some strategic metrics I can give some of these leaders that, if pursued, and they are measurable. These plans are measurable. They're not going to give them results in 2 months, not in a year, but I can give them measurable strategic plans that by the time we come into the end of it easily, cheaply, simply, we will achieve the result of Yoruba nation. If not, we will achieve something very close to it. That is regional government, where we will dissolve the power at the center and make it make it highly loose, that only little power will be concentrated there, and more of the powers will be devolved into the region. It's not impossible to do, and it is something that is a win-win for all the regions.
Well, the only thing is, my people, when I say my people, Yoruba people like me, they're insisting that either or, neither this nor that. It has to be total ceding the power back, ceding the governance back to the Yoruba
Uh,
people.
but they should, if that be the case, then they should state how that can be achieved. The other time somebody said we are going to hear Gbasgbos. If Gbasgbos means we will get on the street and be shot by mobile police, or we're going to be confronting the military, and then many of us will get killed, if that is the option they have in mind, I think they should have a rethink. That's my own say in this. They should have a rethink. The route of that Gbasgbos, as far as I'm concerned, they cannot put it. And the other time too, one was saying, oh, because agitation for nationhood in different countries are never the same. It does not mean you should not take the best practice. Because what it takes South Africa is different from what it took the Australian, and it's different from what it has taken the Eritrean, does not mean we should stupidly be making mistakes and falling ourselves into the ditches. No. I think the best thing that we could do is to look at all others, if there are history in that regard, and choose the best practice. The one that is less violent, even not less, the one that is non-violent, the one that could be resolved amicably, the one that will be to the benefit of all. Because come to think of it, even if Yoruba nation becomes a very successful nation, are we going to be surrounded by neighbors that are in poverty, that are in peril, and we think we are safe? Somebody should actually come out of this dream. If you cannot give other regions, other people to know that they have hope of sustaining themselves, of living, of having their life intact, I don't think why you think you are going to sleep with two eyes closed. It's just the same, just as Professor Sam Aluko said years back. He said in Nigeria, the poor man cannot sleep because he is hungry, but the rich man cannot sleep because the poor man has refused to sleep, in which case both of them are losing sleep. He does not pay any of them. If the rich man have thought of inclusiveness of the poor man, then he will have easily find his own sleep. Because if the poor man has been catered for and he was able to eat and have a meaningful life, the rich man will have his water bed or gold bed or diamond bed and sleep comfortably. But if he's done otherwise, then he too will lose sleep.
Well, I want to thank
you.
Are
we saying that we want a progressive, a prosperous Yoruba nation and be surrounded by Arewa or Middle Belt or Igbo land that are reeling in poverty, that are not sustainable?
Hold on, I have a caller. I have a caller, Mr. Hussein.
That's why I believe the negotiation should be a win-win for all.
Mr. Hussein, I have a caller from Lagos. Hello, caller.
Okay.
Hello, I'm on a live program. Where are you calling from? Okay, I think the caller dropped. Okay, now go on. Now, another thing I quickly want to chip in into your line of thinking is, well, it is difficult to appreciate that when majority of people want something, but that is a part of democracy. That it is true that majority will always have their way, even though the minority will always have their say. If it comes to a situation, again, I'm looking at all this hypothetical, and I want to say this. You can congratulate me if you want, and for those who are listening, they can congratulate me if they want, because we have a situation, Mr. Hosseini. We had a situation before where someone from nowhere joined us, somebody who has tried to be a governor 2 or 3 times before, and then find an opportunity and say the national leadership of this movement they may not be doing enough to get what they want. And she jumped in the boat, and then and start coming to tell majority of us that in the name of the Almighty God, it is all possible. It can be done within a short period of time, and started by asking us to generate or to contribute or to add 5 million signatures, which we did. It was successful. I want to claim today, and I want it to be on record. I want it to be on record. This is an opportunity for me to say it, and I want you to listen carefully, sir. I have now have to stand up 2 weeks after the 5 million was unveiled. That we got it.
Yeah.
2 weeks after, I rose to say, what next? That what next I said. Up to today, majority of some Yoruba, some people I still want to come to be, they're very stupid, idiots. I'm choosing my word. Got angry and they were calling me names. They were calling me names. With and without people that know me. They were calling me names because what? They thought that what that particular woman is saying is correct. And I say it cannot be correct. Because here we are, we have not followed the process and procedure. Are you hearing me, Mr. Seni? That we are not followed the process and procedure. That we are going to get zero. Even the one that hurt me as we speak, we still have zero. And people still, I don't know where zero have changed to 1. We still have 0. And that zero, the zero, hold on a minute, I have a caller here. Just a minute. Just the 0 we have here, I'll be with you in a second, Mr. Caller. So the 0 we have here, as you speak, it still has not changed to 1. It still has not changed that conclusively there's been a record of a nation that has been born. There's no a record of that. We have another nation in this world called Yoruba nation. And this particular person is still riding high. Well, her main television station or radio station is dropping because I think some people are picking up their brains, having to say, look, it doesn't work that way. Some people are still believing that the amount of the more God you call, the more is going to make it possible. And I have said to myself, like I said, I was the first one to say, where do we go from here when some people start going ballistic? Say, how dare you? How dare you to ask? So at the end of the day, for me, I'm still maintaining it, that it can only take people who are fools to believe that anybody has done anything more than the national leader we have. They've worked tirelessly. Now, I can say that maybe they will have taken the ball and say, look, it doesn't work this way. This is how it works. Because now, this person have driven the vehicle to a ditch. I remember saying that, and I want to continue saying that. But let me quickly get the caller. Let the caller ask a question. Mr. Caller, good afternoon. Where are you calling from, sir?
Good afternoon, Babosini and your guest just said something.
Yes.
I'm calling from the United States of America.
Okay.
Your guest said something. He said how can it be possible for us to be the only rich? Let's assume we succeed in pulling out of Nigeria. That how can it be possible for us to be surrounded by poorer countries, and that it doesn't make sense? And I'd like to tell our guests that there are countries in Europe that are rich, and in Europe and Americas that are surrounded by poor countries. Romania, Serbia, Hungary, Bulgaria, all these are poor countries, and they're living side by side richer countries like Austria, like Czech Republic, like so many countries. In the Americas too, we have rich countries like Argentina. We have how many countries are even rich in the Americas? Perhaps 2 or 3. And they're surrounded by poorer countries.
Yes.
Does it mean they are not existing? They're existing. See, it's just like this. It's just a double so for them to tell us it's just a scare tactics, not a dog whistle. It's a scare tactics for us not to go ahead with what we're doing. And that's all I want to tell the caller.
Thank you very much. Let's give the my guest.
Let me quickly. Okay, you have another caller.
No. Yeah, I mean that's the statement.
Okay, let me quickly respond to that. I think I'm very conversant with the Europe because I live in London, I live in United Kingdom. That is what gave birth to expansion in EU. Because if EU is progressing, I mean, if Western Europe is progressing and is developing and is becoming more prosperous, yet is surrounded by other countries, in Europe as well, particularly in the East, that are pulverized, that are poor, that are backward. That is what brought in countries like Romania into EU. That is what brought in countries like Latvia into EU. That is what brought countries like Czechoslovakia into EU. Just like he has mentioned their names of those countries. Because it doesn't make any sense for any prosperous country to be living side by side those who are poor. America today is screaming about immigration from Mexico, from all those their surrounding countries, because they are prosperous, and yet they have to spend billions trying to safeguard themselves against, if it is spread, if America, Canada, and all that, their prosperity spread into Mexico, they will not be talking such. They will not, and that is why in Europe there is a rethink, and that is what gave birth to the expansion in EU. So let him understand that. That is what gave birth to the expansion in EU. You cannot. It doesn't make sense. Only Nigerians think that way, that, you know what, if I'm going to build a mansion of 12 million, I need to start thinking of spending 17 million to erect a gate. Because why? There's somebody beside him, or nearly half of the street where he lives, do not earn 200 naira per month. Rather than letting them have something that will make him even build his mansion without a fence, because all those people are taken care of. Rather, he wants to amass that wealth, be prosperous, and leave others in penury. Do you get what I'm saying? And my answer to him is, it is because such thing cause social unrest, social problems, even in Europe, and that is what led to European Union expansion, to bring in those poor countries into EU so that prosperity is spread. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't create a prosperous nation surrounded by poor, only for later years to be dealing with the problem of that will come from them. Let us from outset factor them in. That's what I'm preaching.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kola from America. Okay. Yes, sir.
It's just that I won't have the chance to do a guest here with you tonight. I would have loved to have to chat with your guest. But let me just say there's an element of major dissonance here. What you say? In one breath, he's talking about a conference within EU. In another breath, he's talking about what is going on and how Nigerians behave. I mean, what I'm trying to tell you is that, and I can clear that for you. What I'm trying to tell you is that we shouldn't let that little thing that is. I mean, we shouldn't let scare people to their nation. People are trying to come to another nation. And you say when Latvia, when Yugoslavia, when so many other countries look apart, are you saying there are no rich countries and there are no poor countries? You see, excuses are just too flimsy for Yoruba nation not to go their separate ways. If at some point West Africa want to come to a think, like they want to form a think tank to make sure other countries within the region are rich and then the government has Yoruba nation. Fine, we'll get that. But just because we don't want that to happen, then we allow that we're complaining about to continue to fester. Then it's, come on. What I'm talking about here.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Adeleke from America. Please, if you have another call, Adeleye.
Okay.
Adeleke, Adeleye. Adeleke. All right, thank you. All right. Now, Mr. Seni from Lagos, MCC,
For
there one or two
for
other
most part of what he said,
yes.
I'm sorry I did not hear it. For most part of what he said, but I think I can only probably just assume that what he's talking about is those countries in Europe are still poor. Maybe that if that's the understanding he's trying to pass across. What I have said is not just to label a country poor or rich. Maybe it's taking my deposition out of context. What I have said is this: if somebody have made an effort, I've looked at what they have done and have, by benefit of hindsight, and said this is the correction that I need to apply, which is when the European Union, the EEC was formed, and these countries were not involved, and it transformed into EU. These countries were not involved. At later time, that they deem it fit and said, you know what, it will be to our benefit to have everybody inclusive into this, so that we will not be having problem of trying to secure our border against those who do not have. As long as we can make them come up to our level, that is what they are doing now. It does not mean that those countries will just transform overnight to become rich countries. But they've started that step that, you know what, it's in our own best interest for those who are poor amongst us to come to our level. It's a process to come to that level. That's a different process. But for you to recognize that, you need to bring them in the first instance, so that you remove yourself from the problem of paying attention to them overwhelming or them having incursion into your system. Do you get it? You already factor them in. Coming to the case of Yoruba, I'm saying that we should not wait that we experiment our prosperity first and then do just as the European Union are now doing. That after 40 years, 50 years of trying to amass ourselves in weaponry to guard ourselves, we later now realize that, you know what, it would have been a better cause if these people too, we have allowed them or give them anything to beneficial to let them be prosperous too. That way, we can be safeguarded. That's what I'm saying. That right from outset now, we can incorporate that. We can be thinking that, you know what, it will be to the best interest of Anarewa to be on his own too, and show him what he stands to gain by being on his own. Let him know, let him appreciate that. Do you get it? And when he have that, he can stand on his own. But if you don't do that, if you're focused about just your own prosperity, and you've even not just because you are focused, you are actually convinced yourself that these other people will live in penury, because that's a pervading feeling among the Yoruba. You get it? That this particular group will live, they will not be able to do well. And you sincerely feel you are just going to have a good ride. I don't know. Maybe I come from a different world. I don't know how that could happen. Unless we're going to be in arms race, we're going to be like Israel against Palestinians. We equip ourselves to the teeth.
Well, again, my understanding of that your last consideration may look like a little bit of moral, looking at issues like this from moral angle, because as you can see,
Yeah, of course.
there's no moral business of government all over the world, because if we take example of what is going on in Ukraine and Russia now, like I said at the introduction of this program, my first lecture many years back is that's about 48 years ago. Is where two people are talking. Usually, there won't be there will never be war. And I also want to use this opportunity to say to my fellow Yoruba co-travelers that we have in our hand a big, well, we cannot don't let us underestimate that the journey of wanting to come out of a country is just a short journey. It could be a longer journey. And I also want to use this opportunity to say that for those who believe that negotiation, talking, or whatever, it cannot be fruitful. I think we should start to have a rethink. You know, even though again, want to buy not to buy because this is an open taking some of us as mumu. Because if somebody goes out there and say, won't bajoba, won't chicken, won't collector, all that kind of thing, and people are still believing that kind of thing. I just wake up in the morning and having headache. I just wake up in the morning, I'm having serious headache. And it's unfortunate that when you look at we Yoruba people, we are too civilized, we are too educated, we are too informed, we are too exposed than Kenny Conquer from nowhere. And this person is just playing on intelligence of people like you and I, saying reclamation, reclaim after that occupation, occupation. Now,
do you mind if I cut in?
Yes, please.
That can happen if those to whom she ventured that ideas to are themselves not prepared, you get it, to peel off the skin of whatever she's presenting. I mean, that's why I said there has to be a strategic thinking about this thing. If somebody, like you said, when she came and she said blah 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 blah, this 5 million and all that, at the end of the day, you actually put it to her, what next?
Yes.
Do you get it? That is a fundamental question.
And I got anger.
See?
I got anger not only from her, but a large number of stupid people.
It's a definite question. What next? Where do you go from here? What is the purpose of doing? In fact, even if at the outset, at the time she was selling the idea, that whole thing had been narrowed down. That okay, if this is collected, what are we going to do with it? Where does it take us? What are we going to achieve with it? What impact will it have? What statement is it going to come out of it? What are we going to get? Yeah. Questions demands answer.
Yes.
Simple thing. If whoever that presented this is that equipped, they should be able to have answered those questions. That's the thing. Yes. They should be able to, so everybody will know we are on the same page. And we know how that is driven. But where it is not so, you get it. And these things, like I said, it's not. This is not playing to the gallery. The truth is, the only other option. For instance, let's take the little hiccups that happened when they protested in Ojota. I live in London. If only recently, yesterday, there was a strike in London, right? Were police not out? Teachers were on strike. They were walking all through the street. The police were out to condone the street and make sure that they are safe. Why do we think, particularly those of us who even live abroad, and said people should come out and protest, and you think, in environments where you live, if such thing is even called, police will be there to protect lives and properties. Why do we think Nigeria should be an exception, that the police will not come out? Why do you think we will call people to come out and police will not be available? To me, I don't get it. Because some commentators were saying, the police are coming and kill them. One, those who called them out should have known in their planning that the police will come out. Is either they have approached the police office, the police rank and file, or the police officers or their command, and seek for a permission to do that protest. If it is declined, then you probably shift it. And if it is granted, then you have that protection. And secondly, in UK, the police only some squad carry gun. They don't carry gun. But in Nigeria, we all know that Nigerian police carry gun. So how can I call people to go out without having police protection? And I'm sure police will come out to make sure that they are watching that protest with guns. It's like I'm risking the lives of people and putting their life in jeopardy, only for me to turn around when they were killed and said, come and see, Nigerian police are killing them. For goodness sake, if I had been part of those who called them out, their blood is in my hand. Because it should have behoved on me to have thought it out, that what risk am I asking these people to take? What measures have I put in place to make them secured? Yes.
Yeah.
If I have not thought that out before calling them to go to the street, their blood is in my hand.
Well, we have a situation like that because one or two of our boys have been killed now.
Even in United States,
even
in United States, policemen killing protesters. Don't let them sound as if it is unusual in Nigeria. Protesters in US shot.
Well, the only time I draw the line is most of this country you are trying to, in fact, you are trying to compare with a uncivilized space like that of Nigeria. Is if anybody got killed unlawfully in the process of protest or whatever, the justice will take place. You know, and the family will be for so. I'm not saying
compensated.
I'm not saying compensation will bring the dead back, but they'll be compensated. Unlike in Africa, Nigeria in particular, that you get killed at Ojota, that's the end of the road. In fact, the local people.
And that if we know our clients, we are deliberately trying to kill our own people. Yes, if we know the consequences, if I know that asking people to go out to protest without taking permission will put their life in jeopardy, and I deliberately ask them to do so, are you saying that I should be exonerated of that problem? Is that what you're saying? Because already, I mean, if I know that's what is operational, that means I deliberately put their lives online. That's what it means. Don't let us play like, oh, I didn't know they will kill them. Because you've just said that Nigeria is not that of America, where they can take the government to court, they can take this, or they can get compensation. That means we all know what is obtainable. So if I'm a leader and I'm asking people to do that, that means I'm well aware that I want them to be killed for nothing, because I know they can't be compensated, they cannot get justice, because if I'm aware that is what is going to happen, and yet I'm asking them to put their life online. Come on, we can't have our cake and eat our cake and have it. We should be truthful to ourselves. What I'm saying is there are other ways, there are other options which are plausible, rather than this chicken way of killing ourselves. Anyway, maybe to some people they narrow it down that poverty have killed them anyway.
Well, that's as it is. It's also part of the self-defeatist impression we have about ourselves, and unfortunately, so all these our suggestions are correct. They are true, because here we have a country that does not care about you, that does not even want to know what is going on in your life, and as far as they are concerned, try and manage it yourself. There's a country where you have to do everything for yourself, by yourself, and so on and so forth. Now, let me start rounding up, because I wanted to make it to be a short one. Like I said, let me say this to my viewers. It's unfortunate I've invited the Chairlady of Yoruba, world media. For some reasons, I'm not going to get angry in any form or shape. When you are going to get to 76, you don't want to get angry with anything, with anybody. Otherwise, that can shorten your lifespan. So I'm not angry. I can only imagine that there's something happened to her. She's a wonderful woman. I know her very well. She was my deputy when I used to share that group. And I can imagine, hopefully she's going to call and tell me exactly what happened. Because if she invites me tomorrow, I'll be too happy to jump in the boat and be her guest. So I've been her guest before. It was also on this woman's program that some people started calling me, that because we have a situation where we are talking about politicians. Now today, everybody, you have no, what's the alternative in talking about Nigeria and Yoruba to be. Because as we speak, we are still in Nigeria. 99.9% of our people still have, even if they carry American, British, Canadian, Australian passport, 3 European civilized passport, they still carry Nigerian passport. And that Nigerian passport, if they come to Nigeria, none of the other 4 passports will enable them to buy land to get all these basic things done. But when you say it, they still want to make you look like something. So I remember very well on my guest, which is not here today, we were talking, and then we got to a point of mentioning Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I said I know Tinubu, and I don't know some other things we said. Oníṣèlú ni o, ọmọ Tinubu gbọ́dọ̀ Tinubu, and there's some idiots, fully qualified idiots, tí wọ́n finish A-level, one not to talk of O-level, that they are fully bred idiots, and I'm using this opportunity to reach out to them. To just pay, we are together, we're supposed to be together, media, but then again, they are calling me names, they were saying things. Tinubu that I have not seen for 12 years. In the backcover or anybody. You know me, Mr. Seni, you know me. I live within my means. I don't go. I am not one of those who wants to be do or die. I don't. I want to be challenged. Me, bank or call anybody. But essentially, bombing one, because I'm not a burden to anybody. I have better, fantastic, reliable, successful arrangement for the rest of my life. And I always say it. They get angry when I say that to some people. Oníṣèlú ni ó ṣe kíní kan ni ó ti gbà kan lọ́wọ́ Tinubu ni ó dẹ̀ sọ kíní gbà lọ́wọ́ Tinubu ni mi ò gbowó lọ́wọ́ mi ìgbà kọ́bọ̀ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ rí, and I will never, the way it is, and I've distanced myself, because since I've come out with this, hold on, I still have I think another caller again. Since I've been in politics, I grew up in a place where there's a devotion and dedication to good Omoluabi, and ever since I've been managing it, nobody can give me anything. No, I did not, and that is the truth. Hold on. Let me take. Please, I'll be with you in a minute, Mr. He has called before. You want to contribute again? Now I'm going to take 1 or 2 more calls. If that is possible, then I'll have to call it a day. I want to appreciate you very quickly, Mr. Adekunle from USA. Go on.
Yes, sir. I just want to thank you for what you just said concerning my earlier contribution, and that is that we are taking the nation here. We're not talking about morals, and I support you in saying that. That's my belief too. Then what you said about what's her name now, Unitiri of a person, of a woman. Please continue to draw me out. Continue to speak, emphasize it. Please, it's important. That's what I'm dealing with here in America too. That a lot of people, despite living in First Nations, despite living in Europe and America, Canada, and all that, they still think Unitiri has something to offer Yoruba nation. Please, that is in my we have a little group here, and that is what I deal here every single day for Nigerians who I deem educated, who I deem sophisticated, who I deem informed. They'll still believe in the treachery of this woman. They can't see it. It hurts me. It pains me that people can't see that this woman, all she's doing is playing to the gallery. All she's doing is muddying the water. All she's doing is trying to ruin what we all believe in. Please, you said our national leader. Say his name. A lot of people wouldn't know who our national leader is. I mean, most people know. Drop his name. Say his name out all the time. Our national leader is Professor Akintoye.
Yes.
It's important to say his name.
Okay. I appreciate your contribution. Because of time, I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mr. Adekunle from America. Now, Mr. Seni, let me quickly react to what the last caller just said. He said some people still think Mrs. Modupe Onitiri Abiola
Onitiri.
has done something. She has not. She has done fuck. Sorry, my language. It's done nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No, she has done something.
Okay.
She has done something to reverse the hand of the clock.
Okay.
That's doing something.
That's again. And I'm all, yeah, you're right. Sometimes in a zero box, because if a box is empty, it creates two opportunities. You either leave it empty or you put something in it. Yeah, you're right. I will agree with you
Yes.
without any further consideration because at least it has now opened the eyes of many people. And some people, like the last caller said, they are still believing. And the gentleman said it hurts him. It hurts me when I wake up in the morning that I won't continue pé Onitiri and to Burumbe, some of the media people, àwọn alábòsí pé ibi tí wọ́n ti rí jẹ nìyẹn, láì pẹ́ fẹ́ sanwó mortgage wọn. I don't know. They are still believing. Some people are even still going to one or two of these media people talking about Onitiri has done something. Onitiri should have long time ago, immediately that you find out 419 agent of Kennedy. Tell me something, Mr. Seni, before you go. Is it possible if this process of somebody saying, "Oh, we declare a nation within a nation," òun ti ránṣọ àwọn army, òun ti ṣe currency, òun ti ṣe passport. What is normally the reaction? What is the normally reaction of that country? Tell my viewers.
Okay, let me just. I will use this opportunity to recap on nearly everything I have said. Now, taking the issue of this woman, she was given flesh around the bone because there was no, to the best of my knowledge, there was no well thought out agenda for achieving this thing. So those gray areas that people are clamoring for anything to fulfill their yearning, that is what the woman had come to do. The second thing is, I'm not particularly against disagreement. Even in the display of non-entity, you still have to agree that somebody is disagreeing with you. That is how I operate. That, you know what, if somebody comes with their blabbing and say blah, 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 all you need to do is, like you rightly said the other time, that you question this. If you put those questions across and there were no meaningful, logical, reasonable response to it, then you begin to marshal out your own thoughts, your own agenda, your own strategies, your own tactics on how to approach the matter. I think that was what was lacking. And that was what gave her inroad to infiltrate the fabric of the movement. Only for it to develop into a cancer cell. Because as it were, talking of people believing that she still meant something, it's a cancer cell.
It is. Don't spread.
It's a cancer cell. Yes, it's a cancer cell in the system. You get it? And because the system is true, had not now come up to say that, you know what, this is where we're going, this is the approach we have, that is fashionable, reasonable, and logical. You get it? Where that is in abeyance, our cells will continue to develop and be malignant, affecting different organs. That is how I can describe our own situation. Because for all to see, I don't know. It's like somebody, if I stay in my home and said, I'm declaring Republic of Ogbeni Oja, I say it to myself. I could say it to my colleagues. I could say it to hundreds of people. But does that really materialize into anything? That is what she has done. And probably in an environment where people are just yearning for anything to listen to. Yeah. So you see some cheerleaders or share people that will clap hands and then believe that, yes, this could work. You get it? That's the way it is. And we all know even those who are well educated knows that even if as it were today, Atiku or Tinubu get on a podium and said, you know what, I'm declaring this part of Nigeria as a republic, the most that will happen is a voice of nothing. And the reaction will be they could be arrested.
Yeah, but
do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But in the case of
yes.
this Miss Onitiri,
or
no
the
government, nobody has said anything.
Chaos. Sir?
Nobody has said anything about these shenanigans. These
because it's a shenanigan. Because it's a shenanigan, yeah. Do you get it? Like I said, even if that has happened, you get it? Like I said, the most that will happen, MKO declared himself as president. And I told somebody, I said, that was in itself wrong. It amounts to nothing. Because MKO was not Fedeco then. I mean, what did they call them then? NEC. MKO, he was not in a capacity to declare. There was nothing, any law that said, either in the constitution or electoral law, that said a candidate in an election is authorized to declare himself as winner. Who will recognize him as such? To me, it was a charade. But because the military man was in power, who was power drunk, Abacha, got him arrested. But the truth is, that declaration will have amounted to nothing.
Yes.
The most that would happen was for Tofa to even go to court, who was his opponent then, to go to court and say, you know what, this guy is not NEC. Why would he declare himself as win? Has he written the result himself?
Yeah, but then again, the situation on that, Mr. Seni, on that, you may like to add that on that occasion, the election that was perceived to be the most freest, the best elections.
No, I'm only giving an illustration. I'm not delving
into that election on itself was
the authenticity or credibility of the election.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I'm not delving into that.
I understand.
I'm just staying on the peripheral of what is right. So, liking that to the declaration by this woman, to me, it was of no effect. But for some people to give it flesh, you get it. That's the effort that is giving her a voice. You get it?
Okay.
That's the effort that is giving her a voice. But for me to quickly round up, I had wanted to mention another instance that will probably let people see my own point of view in terms of this agitation. There is a man in United Kingdom. His name is Nigel Farage. His sole purpose that he said to himself was he was not happy with UK being in EU, and he started a campaign. He started a campaign telling other people that I want my country out of European Union. And do you know, in his thought, he did not say that he needs to take placard and remain at the House of Parliament in London. No, he knew where that change could take effect. It was in the European Union. And he formed a party and contested the election to go to that European Union, because that is where that matters will be had. It is not on the street, just as we wanted to do. It is not the best post. We need to have that political framework. I'm telling you, and I'm reiterating, it's a political question, it's a political request, it should go through a political process. This guy went to European Union, he campaigned to get UK out. His party in subsequent election won more seats in the European Union. And then they continuously hammering it to the European Union. And then brought the same message back home. He was not in the ruling party. The Tory was in government. But because his voice was loud enough in Brussels, and so he does not even have a single parliament seat. in Westminster. The Tory felt, you know what? This noise about getting UK out, let's put it to test. Let's put it to test. Why are we thinking that cannot happen? And that's why I discountenance when you mention numbers. These people are more. Abiola then said, it depends on how you shout your ye, ye, ye. If you continue singing, ringing, blackbaiting it into their ears, sometimes they said this guy has become an irritant. Let's do what he's asking for and get rid of it. Yes.
I must say,
eventually, the government cowed in and said, let there be a referendum. I know, mind you, UK government under Cameron campaigned rigorously, vigorously, powerfully to keep UK in EU. That's a whole government machinery. Yet, the people voted out, led by Nigel Farage. For goodness sake.
Yes.
It is not the numbers.
I understand.
We can do it only if we start off that we can do it.
Okay.
If we start off this idea that, oh, they have the numbers, they're too much, they have the weapons, they have the this, is a defeatist move. It's a defeatist feeling.
I must say,
that means we're only saying we are educated, we are intelligent, but we're saying we are not thinkers.
Okay. I must say, my agreeing with your last part of this discussion, which again should not be seen, should not be linked to the blood relationship you have with me. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud to say that we had a very sensible, a very constructive, objective discussion, and these are discussions that I can take to bank. I can share with anybody. Some people might agree, some people might not agree, and that's why you're making my money. Amala Nigeria can be the best Amala I can imagine, but then now, so again, I'm saying that I want to thank you very much for being there. There was a kind of a backup. I finally want to say again that I'm not really impressed. I'm not really very happy with the chairman, with the chairlady of Yoruba World Media, that she was invited, duly invited. All the arrangement was made. We've agreed, and she did not turn up, and she has not sent me a message of whatever happened. But I can imagine, I hope nothing bad happened to her, because she's such a wonderful woman. I know very well. Like I said, I repeated it many times. She was my deputy when I was still there. But I want to thank God. I want to thank everybody listening to me. When it got to a point when the honesty cry for woes and other kind of thing was becoming too loud, I did not even step down. I stepped down when I wanted to step down, because I say, look, other people should continue doing what I was doing. Again, I want to say thank you very much for listening to me. I hope most of the discussion we have today will be useful. Some people can work on it and understand that we are in a business of not just only Adura and Kokolu Magba. And we need to work, we need to do what we need to do. And but before you go, what media, the fourth rim of of any empire, of any government. What do you think our media? What do you think we are doing? I'm an independent media now, 100%. No tight, nobody. I can say it loud. If I call anybody to come and talk, they'll be free to come. If they don't want to come, no problem at all. But I am not banded. I'm not anything than a media which I've been almost 20 years ago. Now, talk about the media in this little time. I know you've been following us. So what do you want to say to the media people? Your uncle, no, because I'm independent. Independent media can be. I'm not tied to any. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about the media before we go?
The media is the fourth realm.
Yeah.
And is a very powerful fourth realm. It's the realm that all other realms needs to acquiesce to. It's unfortunate that we have not utilized the power that is behind the media. I did mention something the other time in terms of the protest. I said, if the organizers have approached the police and said, let's get a license because we needed to protest. Let's assume that the police declined. You can hammer that in the press for over and over till they will have to rescind their decision and see reason why peaceful protest. It might be okay. Let's even see how peaceful they want to be. Let's go there. Let's let them do it. Let's guide them. At first, it will be because of the name. Oh, there are people who say they are crying for independence. We, the government, don't want to hear that. But if you go, because they have refused, and that becomes an issue in the press every now and then. Oh, Yoruba Nation organizers have approached the police command and asked for the license to have a peaceful protest. Is it in this country that peaceful protest cannot be guaranteed by the police again? Let that be reeled out every now and then. You see them buckling down. That is what we don't want to do. Rather, we want to say that we will carry sticks, we will carry machete and all that and get to the street to confront somebody who's got AK-47. To me, it doesn't happen. So coming back, the media should be well utilized, should be oiled, should be well engaged, and two, it should be pruned though, not anybody. It shouldn't be any commerce business. It should be people who are versatile in what the media stood for and what the purpose of using the media for. Those who knows the objective, the agenda that in UK, there is no media that is fair. There are media that are playing to the gallery of the tourists. There are those that are in support of the Labour. There are those that are in support of the Liberal. I've discovered that they all have what they all agenda for.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong in that. You get it? So we can use the media to launch this program and have it delivered effectively.
I agree with you. Thank you very much,
yes,
Mr. Oseni from Lagos. I want to appreciate you. Thank you very much. And like I said, I want to repeat as final statement from the host of this talk show, which is me, Otumba Ashim Olabode Oseni, also known as Otumba Who. I've been talking to my nephew in Lagos. He's visiting Lagos. I'll probably be coming back to see for update as how far you're doing in Nigeria and any update as
I'll keep you posted.
Yes. Dr. Zabby, get back to me. I will have never done that to you. And like I said, I had a long list of what I wanted to ask and discuss with you. But again, I will not close the door. I cannot. You are my person. I will never close the door. Whenever you are ready, get back to me. And I also still have target of speaking to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more member of your group that at least I can engage them. And like my nephew just said, we can be more effective in this part of the governance of any country, the media. Eshe Modupe, thank you very much again. Have a blessed weekend, and thank you. Avide Sin, bye-bye. Eshe.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.